my goal is Uptishmat Klalis. Cult is surrounded with a fence, so I went like out of the fence, like a few miles.
What fence are you talking about? This is the Eidef?
After I left the Hasidic cult, I was homeless for a few years. Even up to this point, I'm kind of homeless.
I personally think that the fact that you're becoming homeless is your own fault.
I recently visited my parents for the first time. If you don't wear like a rope around your waist to strangle you.
What's the problem? Just to move on. Just don't listen to what they told you because you feel it doesn't work for you. Continue moving. What is those videos? What is this? Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a special guest, Mr. Joseph Kraus. A lot of you guys requested to bring up Mr. Joseph to understand why is he hating on the community. Joseph Kraus is an ex-Hasidic guy from Monroe, New York, 22 years old, and I want to get to know you a little bit more. I don't know you a lot. I just did a little research in the last hour before you came. I did a little bit of research. I watched a little bit of YouTube videos, and I asked also our viewers to comment and ask questions they want to know, and I wrote it down, and I'm going to ask you some of them. So, hi Joseph, how are you?
Oh, good,
Thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for hosting. Nachi provides, by the way. Shawarma, VIP service, doorman, you know what I mean?
Got it. Before we start,
yes.
I'm going to do a bracha.
Amen.
I got you on the amen.
Karazaros.
Okay, let's go. Okay. Talk to me. So what's going on? Joseph, 22 years old, you grew up where?
I grew up in a cult, upstate New York. It's called Curious Joel. It's located about 50 miles north of New York City.
Monroe.
Where we're sitting right now. Monroe, New York,
okay.
Also known as, yes.
It's not known as a cult. I don't know that cult, and I know Monroe and Curious Joel very well. But you're saying that it's a cult in your eyes. What is the reason you see it as a cult?
Why I see it as a cult? First of all, I was born there. I lived there for the majority of my life. I'm 22 years old, and I left when I was 17.
So give me a little bit about your life. Start from where you're a kid. Which part
do you want to know?
Everything.
So I went to the standard Satmar school that in Curious Joel, the cult. There's really no other options. There's no like private schools or public schools.
Only school.
It's only one cult school that everybody has to go, and that's all there is.
I see the cult is sitting on you somehow.
Yeah.
We're going to get there shortly because, Joseph, you know a little bit about me, not much also, but you know that I also grew up Hasidic in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and I don't see Hasidic people as a cult. I see Hasidic people, very good people. And again, I want to make clear to you and to the viewers that on this podcast, it's going to be a lot of disagreement because a little bit that I checked.
I hope we can agree on everything.
We're going to try to agree on certain stuff, but I know that I disagree with a lot of things you're saying. But I'm not here not to back up Hasidim, not to back you up, and I'm here to say whatever I personally think. And I personally think that Hasidim are great people, and I think that I don't belong there, and that's why I chose to leave the community, not the cult. I don't think Hasidim are a cult, but it's your opinion, and that's why you came to say why you think Curious Joel is a cult, and I'm sorry for cutting you in, so let's go back. So you grew up in Satmar School.
First of all, I didn't come here to say why Curious Joel is a cult. That's one of your questions.
I want to know why you see it with so much hate.
We're having an interview,
right?
And you say I see it with so much hate. I don't hate anybody. Okay.
You don't hate Hasidim?
I don't hate people. Period.
You hate Judaism?
I don't want to be Jewish. I don't hate Jewish people. The word hate is a very strong word. Okay.
I have so much questions.
I associate the word hate with death.
I'm going to let you
kill
talk.
People. I don't want to kill people. Yeah. You can ask as many questions as you want.
No, but I want to get to know you a little bit before I get to the questions. When you're saying a statement, I don't want to be Jewish. It's sad for you because I'm a happy Jew. I am Jewish.
Okay.
I might be not religious and seasons and whatever the case is, but I am a proud Jew. And a Jew doesn't mean a Hasidic guy from Curious Joel. There's hundreds of thousands.
Oh, where I grew up, I was told if you're not exactly how that Jewish cult is, you're not considered Jewish at all.
But when they taught you a certain way,
they said if you don't wear the black hat with the long curls to the floor, and if you don't wear like a rope around your waist to strangle you, and if you don't wear like black angel shoes or whatever you want to call it,
no.
You're gonna go to hell. You're not.
So maybe that teacher
Jewish.
Was a little bit fucked in the head.
That teacher, the whole community. It's like the social norm.
That's
if you don't
my problem.
you're not even socially acceptable.
Yeah, but
in that cult.
you're labeling a community, a full community, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people as a cult, which I interviewed a cult. We had over here, what's her name, Neo Halbrand, the head of the Left Tour's daughter.
Yeah, I saw that one.
So I think that's more considered as a cult than what you're saying is a cult. But go ahead.
So, by the way, that I will encourage your viewers to go watch that video because it is interesting.
You watched it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and by the way, thank you for bringing me on this amazing Nachi Uncensored
I'm happy
podcast. But basically, yeah, I would agree with you that she comes from a real cult. By the way, also in my personal humble opinion, I think she over-exaggerated a lot of what she went through and what happened.
I personally believe her. I interviewed her.
And
I don't think so. I think that she is very, very honest, and it's her side of the story.
Okay.
And I also got a lot of messages from people after that they know her, and she went through a lot. She's a very good person. And she just, that's how she feels about her life.
Yeah.
I don't think she said any, maybe when she said 3 hours walk, it was an hour and a half or an hour. It doesn't matter. The point is, the story is real. And I think that it was also an amazing interview. And I'm happy that you watched it. So you a little bit you a little bit got to know me. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I respectfully disagree with you know what I mean, that what she said is, again, it's sentence by sentence, thing by thing, but the bigger point that I want to bring out, Left Toward the cult that we're discussing is just as much a cult as the Hasidic community where I grew up in Monroe, New York. It's no different. If anything, Monroe is a bigger cult. The only difference of Monroe and Left Toward is that Left Toward is a newly founded cult and it's not established yet. Okay, it's going to be one day. It takes time for these things to be institutions and have enough followers with normal people that make a lot of money, that have houses, that have kids, and where like all of a sudden they become like mainstream. I actually have a formula that is cult plus time equals religion. You understand what that means? When you have a cult, there's always like these scientific formulas. When you have a cult and you add time, meaning the cult started today, you add 1,000 years, 1,000 years later, this cult is no longer going to be considered a cult. It's going to be considered a religion. Now it's like, oh, so what do you mean? You hate Jews? You hate... I don't hate anybody. I'm just saying you started as a cult. Any religion, by the way. And the Hasidic community only started about 200 years ago. So it doesn't even have the benefit of time yet. Okay? It's a brand new... It's still very much in the cult phase. And even when it becomes considered a religion, doesn't mean it's no longer a cult. It just means that now it is more integrated. People have heard of it. It's more accepted. Now, most people have never been into what's it called? That called that we discussed Left Tour. Left Tour, yeah. Most people have never been there or have never spoken to somebody. The fact is, most people that are in that cult are happy. They believe they have a beautiful life, and they believe the outside people suffer. And by the way, they're right to an extent. The only issue is that they're brainwashed, just like the Hasidic community. It's called psychological manipulation. The people in the cult don't think that they are in a cult. They think that they have the best lifestyle. They got it figured out, and everybody else has a bad life.
So let me explain you something. I'm one of the people who left the community. So to tell me that when they're in the cult... By
the way, you didn't completely leave. You still have...
I left.
At least your social life is still...
I left.
If you're going to say stuff about them, you're going to lose all your friends, all your family.
No. So let me make it clear. Okay. I'm not with the community. I don't need the community for anything. I personally believe that the community are very good people. And that's why I don't have a problem also with the community. But I don't need anybody. I need God on my side. I'm a believer. I'm a Jewish person. And I don't have a lot of categories that I want to put myself into. But what you said is that when you're in the cult, you don't feel it. So let me make it clear to you. I was also Hasidic. I grew up in Williamsburg in Brooklyn. And I grew up in Satmar, also very from, just like you. And I left already. And I'm still not saying... And I know that it was not a cult. It was a community that I don't like. I'm sorry, let me make it clear. It was a community. No, because...
Okay.
No. I want to make it clear. It's a community where it's not my place to be there. So that's why I decided to leave the community, and I don't have an issue with them continuing their life.
By the way, why are you so scared when you say I didn't like you? Like, catch yourself, like you're just about.
Because because I love them,
to the king, buddy, and he's gonna kill you.
I don't. So let me explain you something. If I would be scared, you would never post Shabbos in my life.
Okay.
I have zero fear of anybody.
But
whoever knows
still
me,
your things that
I have respect. I have a lot of respect because Hasidim are doing a lot of good things, and again, there is nothing to talk about. Meaning to say, we all know that. And even if you disagree that you don't want to be Hasidim and you think it's a cult, you're not going to disagree with me that the amount of good things that they're doing is, I don't know a lot of communities in the world. So that's why I'm not going to say I don't
name
like.
One thing they do good.
Chesed.
What is chesed?
You don't know what chesed is?
No, explain it.
If you're sick in NYU at any given point in your lifetime, even if you're an atheist and you're saying that they were a cult, they were still going to always bring you food to eat. And they have hundreds of volunteers going around to every single hospital in New York City.
Okay.
1 second. You asked me a question. Let me finish.
Okay.
So that was one little thing.
I want to enter on this specific point
Go
of
ahead.
the hospitals. That this is exactly, it's ironic because where I grew up, the Hasidic cult are so self-destructive that they hate Israel, a Jewish country. They believe Israel should be killed. That's what they believe. And one of the things they always said, let me finish a point, please. One of the things they always said is that Israel, the Zionists, started the issue of anti-Semitism by posting, back in the day, it was newspapers, by writing articles negative about Germans and whatever. Basically, how do you say it? Heat up, like get people very angry towards Jews. Yeah, I don't know how to say it in English. Unreizen, okay? So to get them angry at the Jews, and then they came and said, "Oh, we have a solution. How about we create a Jewish state so all the anti-Semitism goes away?" So this is just the story, the narrative, the talking point that the Hasidic community always would say, this exact story. And they said it's like a metaphor where somebody burns your house when you don't see, when you sleep. And then he wakes you up and he's like, wake up, there's a fire, we gotta run. And he starts to save all your equipment, your camera equipment, your safe with your money, with, you know what I mean, all your things. And you're like, wow, you saved my life. You woke up me and all my kids and took out all my valuable belongings. But really, he's the guy who started the fire in the first place. But I disagree. I support Israel. I'm just saying what they told us, what they brainwashed us to hate the Jewish state. They are Jewish, but they believe if you don't wear the big curls and the black clothes.
By the way, that's one of the things I disagree generally.
But let me finish. With the hospital,
with
the hospital, the same thing is, who created the issue? Because I was in the hospital. I had a car accident where I have a spine injury. And I was in the hospital for a week, by the way. And no Hasidic people came to visit me.
Which hospital?
Morristown Medical Center in New Jersey.
So,
but wait a minute. There was 5-star meals and respectfully even better than the shawarma, the 5-star shawarma that Nachi just bought special for the podcast. It was even better than that. Why? Because I guess that's how hospital food is in my experience. The point is, the Hasidic community created rules where you can't eat what you want. You can only eat their food. If it's kosher, it has to be a certain way. By the way, for people who don't know, what does kosher mean? Kosher just means that it follows the millions of rules that you have to and can't do to have food ready to eat. So there's so many rules that it's impossible to make it say, okay, this is kosher or not. There has to be a specific certification saying it's kosher. So they created a problem where you can't eat, and now they have the great solution of people bringing food to make people believe that they're so good. Wow, they bring you food in the hospital. I don't need your food. I just called the number in the hospital on the Dirk Zero, and you say, hi, can I have bacon, egg, and cheese?
Joseph, I'm not wishing you to be in the hospital. I can tell you one thing. A lot of my father is now in the hospital, and and lately I'm there a lot, and I can tell you that the amount of people who the chesed is helping out is insane, and it helps a lot. And I can tell you that my father gets everything and anything he needs, and he asks. And what I'm trying to understand is, I feel, I'm trying to understand what, like I said, what is the anti that you have? Meaning to say, The fact that you don't want to eat kosher, no problem. You don't want to keep Shabbos, go for it. Do whatever the fuck you want. No problem. Nobody's judging. Why do you care that you have a whole community? It works for them. For a lot of people, it works. And that's why I said that I don't, I chose to leave. I'm having a good life. I'm not religious. I am religious. Depends on my mood. The point is I'm trying to do Nachi. Okay, I don't owe anybody anything. I'm doing whatever the fuck I want. Okay, a lot of Hasidim are against this podcast also. So don't tell me, earlier you said I need to be careful. I don't need to be careful of shit, and I don't care for anybody, whatever they say.
I think you still have your limits, though.
I don't have limits on anything. Okay. If I would have limits, I wouldn't bring up a lot of people. Okay. Trust me. The fact that I'm bringing you up is also something that a lot of people are going to hate. You're giving him a stage and giving him that. I don't care what people say. I do what I want.
It, yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, so I also chose in a certain way, similar to you, to do whatever I want. But to come and blame and be bashing online, saying that they're a cult and saying that they're hurting people, and why? Why don't you choose your life and move on and enjoy life? And by the way, you can still be friends with all these old people that you had in your life, and some of them were very good to you. I believe so. I don't believe that everybody in your life were bad to you. What is this thing that you're holding that you're trying to, you don't want to let go? You're always busy bashing, going up online, trying to do, like, I personally think that it's stupid. You're putting on a light and off on Shabbos. Like, who gives a shit? I also post Shabbos sometimes, right? A lot of times. Most of the times I post, okay? I don't care. Like, I don't do it on purpose to hurt anybody. I do it because at this point I'm living a life like that, and I personally want, and let me tell it to you, that when I will settle down and get married again and have a new life, I want to be more religious. Meaning to say, I want to keep Shabbat. I think it's healthy for yourself and for the family, and why not if I can do it? But the point is, I'm not doing anything to hurt anybody. And that's why my life is good, and that's why I have no problems with anybody. Nobody, they let you live. As long as you don't come and bash for nothing, what is this bashing situation? What's going on?
So I'll answer. First of all, you label me a lot without knowing. You say
I know because 1 hour was enough to watch videos to understand that you're saying they're a cult and they want only bad. And even now, I'm trying to give you an example of kosher food. They're helping out hospitals. You're telling me no.
The answer to that is, after I left the Hasidic cult, I was homeless for a few years. Even up to this point, I'm kind of homeless. And the meal that I ate before we started that you bought, thank you, by the way.
My pleasure.
Was my first meal of the day. Why? Because I don't have money for food.
Okay.
Why is that?
That's exactly
because
what I want to ask you.
Because growing up, I was denied a basic secular education of being able even to read, speak, and understand and write English.
Okay.
The reason that is psychological and physical manipulation and control of a cult's population. When they cannot speak and read and write even the language of their own country where they are, that most people speak and read and write, there's no way you're going to have a life of any kind. Even working at McDonald's, you can't do it. Because the first thing you do is you have to read a sign how to flip a burger. How are you going to... And by the way, it's much more complicated than reading a sign. You got to take orders. You got to do this and that. I worked at McDonald's, and it was really hard. I even kind of got fired, just because I couldn't even do a simple task as that. And I don't think I'm stupid or anything like that. I don't have such a low IQ that I can't even survive and find a minimum wage job that every schmuck, as you say in one of the languages, can do. The reason is it was by design. The cult created that, so I'm dependent on them for the rest of my life to stay, so they can harness me to be part of their cult.
So first of all,
my whole life, ever since I left, I am in pain, not necessarily emotional pain, but just life is super hard. But
and you feel that it comes from the past.
It comes from how I was manipulated. And the reason why I make all these videos and the reason why I'm making this podcast is to bring awareness, because people don't know it. And I also want to say I'm not an anti-Semite. I don't hate on Jews, definitely not, but also not on Hasidic Jewish cult. I don't hate on them either. I'm just pointing out that it's a problem.
That it
can be fixed through legislation. It could be fixed through through different ways.
Let's try not to fix them. Let's try to get to understand
and
why.
I'm not hating anybody, and I'm not bashing anybody on my videos. I'm just pointing out facts, what they do and don't do. Fact. Is it a fact that they can't order general food in the hospital? A sick guy in the bed will rather die than eat the food.
Nobody dies. Everybody knows how to say, bring me up food. So, but let's put it a second on the side.
But they can't eat the general food. They can only eat
they have kosher.
The specific.
Okay, so they have kosher. They bring them kosher.
The point is if there's somewhere in China where there's no kosher.
If there's somewhere in China it's pakir genevish, they eat also anything. Okay, but let's go back a second. What you're saying is, and I feel you a little bit, I feel your pain that you're saying that it hurts you still on a daily basis, the fact that you didn't have education. So first of all, I agree with you that education needs to be better. I absolutely agree. One second, I was in school, and we were in the same Satmar school.
Not the same.
Whatever, Satmar, Williamsburg, or Monroe, whatever. The point is, we had an English teacher, but it's not enough. We learn 1 hour a day, and also you're throwing oranges on the teacher. It's not enough. But I can tell you one thing, to say that because of that, okay, you don't have a job and you couldn't work in some place, look at me. I didn't have education.
You're the exception.
One second.
And also, you might be bluff. As everybody knows, social media is fake.
True.
So how real this is, if this is somebody else's apartment. I believe you. By the way, you travel every day to Israel. I don't know. But you're also the exception. You're aware of that. Like, there's a big organization, Footsteps, that handles most of their people are like homeless and struggling
I want to
really
give a point.
hard.
I want to give you a point. I didn't mean to say just on me. I have multiple, if not dozens of friends, ex-Hasidim. Not everybody is rich, not everybody, but we have all of them. It's like a regular Christian. You have people rich, you have people that don't have money, you have people that make money, but nobody's, like, most of the people, a normal person that wants to have a house to live, I'm not saying a penthouse, I'm talking about wants to have a regular life, wants to have a little car and whatever, wants to have money to buy, but you said you didn't eat this morning. A person that is focusing to work and that wants to do something with their life is going to find a job and is going to figure shit out.
Yeah, I figure it out, but it's way harder. I had to be homeless.
Fine, I agree.
It's a little bit. No. I constantly keep getting homeless again for different reasons.
I personally think that the fact that you're becoming homeless is your own fault. Why? Okay. I don't know.
This is called blaming the victim, by the way.
Okay, so I apologize if you take it in that way, and I might get a lot of hate for saying such a thing. But I still believe that it's a decision. I feel that every homeless homeless on the street.
First of all, no, that's a different homeless that you see on the street. The guy on the subway, he's a drug addict. A guy that one of the things, by the way, what is a cult is we were in the Hasidic community. We were brought up with higher standard. That's my opinion than the average guy. Even McDonald's food, when I first tasted it, the photo versus what it really is, I was really disappointed. You know, like I was like, this is it. Like fast food is really like trash. It's like it's nothing like the photo. You know, it's like very cheap food. And we were brought up, in generally, I think most Hasidic people, in a way, a more higher standard of life. That's how every cult works. I'm not saying a cult is always a bad thing. By the way, there's constructive cults where if you make a cult that everybody who makes $1 million has to share and educate his fellow cult members on how to become a millionaire, that will be a constructive cult, right? It will be for the benefit of all the members. But then there is this purely destructive cults like the Hasidic community where almost all the rules are destructive. And a lot of rules started with good intentions. Let's say if you make a rule that everybody has to be helping each other to become a millionaire, but eventually it gets twisted where it says that everybody has to steal everybody's money. I'm not saying this is an actual example, but I can give you plenty of examples how literally a rule started for one purpose and it got so much twisted that it ended up being backfiring. You know, just like when somebody hears somebody else saying something and then he transfers information by mouth to somebody else, and then by the 10th person, the statement is completely changed and flipped around.
But back to I want to go back to where we're saying that you can be homeless in certain situations. I feel that the reason why you could get to such a situation is because you are walking around the streets and streaming on internet, and you can always go back home. You always have family, cousins, friends in Monroe, New York. You choose to sleep, to be homeless, and to go to Texas or whatever the fuck it should be. One second, let me finish
I want to answer that.
A little point.
Okay.
So I just want you to understand my point, and then you continue. So I feel that the fact that you're saying that you get, and it sounds very sad, I become homeless, I do like that. I think it's because of you deciding that you don't want to touch or talk or be close to any Hasidic guy. This is where you grew up. It's part of it. If you want it or not, this is where you grew up. So when you need their help, go and reach out for help, and it's totally fine.
They wouldn't help me unless
I don't think so.
If I practice.
If you're online, listen.
If I'm part of their cult,
if you're going to be in Gaza, if you're going to be in
yes.
Gaza, you're going to be streaming all day against their leaders. They're also, nobody's going to help you. Not Jewish, Christian. It doesn't matter where you are. So that's why I'm saying the same reason why they might not help you, and it makes sense. If you're streaming online all day that they're killing people, they're a cult, whatever the case is, whatever you're saying, it might be they're not going to help you, and it makes sense. And you can't blame them for not helping you because you're saying that they're the nastiest people on earth.
Once again, they're the ones who created the problem. And why did I become homeless? I could have gladly kept living in my house with everything. Everything would have been provided, including a girlfriend, a wife. Usually should be decent looking woman that you like arranged marriage that I'm not has a lot of problems. It's like very not good.
I also don't like this.
Okay, so all that, everything would have been provided. I mean, look at I left before any of my family got married. Now they all have a wife, kids, and you know, they have a life. You know,
sometimes you feel jealous.
A little bit maybe, but I chose, and I'm being honest when I say a little bit because other people would say no. The thing is, I chose this life, and I knew it was going to be hard. By the way, I didn't know it was going to be this hard, but I knew that in order to get to greatness and not stay in the cult, it's going to be a struggle. I thought it was only going to be a year or a little bit more. Now it's been a half a decade almost since I left, and it's still hard. But I keep telling myself that we're almost at the end. And I mean, many times I would say right now and recently, it gets way better than it used to be. But then it's like it feels sometimes where you make
three steps
forward
and 4 steps back.
But at the end of the day, I'm not homeless today. Okay, I'm sort of, it's hard to explain, but like, let's say a year ago, for the majority of the year, I wasn't homeless at all. I had an apartment.
When you're saying you're homeless, what does it mean? Where do you sleep?
Well, I sleep in homeless shelters. I've slept in a homeless shelter. It's hard.
I don't feel, Joseph, I don't feel that you belong there. I feel that
I know. I try my best, and I could easily, in 5 minutes, put on all the religious clothes that
you don't need to put a stop with that.
Change. And not only
Joseph,
that,
it's not
I have to stop. They want me to stop.
Joseph, it's not true. You're putting up statements which is not true. You don't need to put up Hasidic clothes to get where to sleep.
I have to do a lot.
You don't.
Okay, where can I go to sleep?
The maximum that you need to do to be respectful is to put a yarmulke. You're walking into a community with a lot of Hasidim. Put your yarmulke. I swear to God, there's no way you're staying on the street.
Who's
anywhere.
Who?
I will get you people.
I
promise you.
This is
no
my first time meeting you. No.
So what I'm saying, I'm telling you that nobody will kick you out if you're going to a place, and any place you're knocking on the door to any person in Williamsburg, in Borough Park, in Monroe, and you're telling them, I'm coming from a Hasidic family, I'm whatever, I'm ex-Hasidic, I'm atheist, whatever the case is.
Because I have knocked on those doors, actually. And nobody helped.
Yeah, what did they say?
They gave me the middle finger, essentially. They didn't actually...
Where was that?
Anywhere. Let me tell you another point that I wanted to say earlier.
I don't buy it. I don't believe that a Jewish guy told you from Monroe,
I walked home
sleep on the
in my house. I could have tried to change. People ask me, oh, so why, if you love the Hasidic community, why didn't you like go to this other Jewish... By the way, most of the time, they're like, oh, why didn't you go to Chabad? Why didn't you go to Israel? Why? In my opinion, all of these are the same amount of cult, more or less. Obviously not the same, but it's still, especially, why would I go to the same thing that I'm just coming from? I already know what it's all about.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's like, okay. And for me, the adjustment to fit into a community like that, even a little less religious, will be almost as hard than starting life all over. So why would I struggle to figure out how to fit into some... By fit in, I don't mean like in a negative way where, you know, where people think you have to be with the latest trend. I mean like assimilate and speak the language, make your friends, have your community, have your family, have a job. You know what I mean? Become stable and comfortable in a community, especially like these unique communities. It takes years and decades and sometimes your whole life to just get a stable life in there, because first you're like immigrant status, not only politically speaking, meaning how people view you and sometimes treat you, and I'm talking about myself here, how I feel sometimes in America, but even like physically, like if you can't speak, read and write English, you don't have a GED, you don't have a high school diploma.
English is very good now.
Thank you. You know how hard I worked on it and how much money I spent in the last 6 months. I don't know if people are going to see the difference. I spent thousands of dollars. I mentioned earlier that I had a car accident where I had a spine injury. I was a passenger and somebody else was driving, and I got a few $1,000s of a settlement in the car accident. That guy unfortunately passed away, so I got a settlement, and I used all that money for my English to invest private tutoring, to sit for hours. And I did wanted to mention, if you would put it there, that I do have a GoFundMe if people want to help to support.
What do you want people to help you for?
Well, I want them because I pay a lot of money for tutors. If they want to provide, they can pay directly for the tutor. I have one specific that
Just
I found.
for your English?
Yeah, because the issue is most of the time also when you meet a tutor, they don't even know, because my education, which I never really had an education, but if you make now a test to see my level, it will be some things I will know college or even better than college level kids might know. But on the other hand, I might not know what first grade kids know. And the reason for that, it's hard to really identify, because I was here and there. I had a tiny bit of education in the Hasidic community. I went after that to a regular public school, and I went to a trade school, to a few different things, and I just lived life, had to figure stuff out. So I might have random knowledge, but I might not know the vowels in English. Until recently, I had to learn the vowels, which I just had to learn, like that if you have the word C-A-P, it makes cap, and if you put an I, it makes I, and there's a long I, and if you add consonant, vowel, consonant, E, the vowel becomes long. It's basic information that I have to learn, and the issue is I've went to a few schools like that where like supposedly they teach you English and give you the GED. The issue is most of the time, most of the people in there are like straight from Mexico, and they don't even want to learn many times. They kind of forced to be there. Sometimes even a judge said if you're not there, you're going to jail or something. So, and you don't really learn. That's one of the issues why the Hasidic people stay, because there's not really a designed way like how immigrant from South America can become successful in America, where like all these apps and all these things are designed for them. All the translation is good in Spanish. The translation apps in Yiddish are not good.
Accurate.
Yeah, and by the way, my English, I don't know, a lot of times people tell me my English is good, but I just want to say...
I think your English is very good.
Thank you very much. When I first left, my name is Joseph Kraus. When I left, I did not know how to spell the name Joseph Kraus.
Joseph, you did some bad things when the English teacher was in class.
It has nothing to do with the English teacher. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Most of the kids my age didn't know how to spell their own name either. And guess what? Even today, as the average 10-year-old, he's not going to know how to spell his I challenge anybody.
So we spoke
Walk
about
into Kirjol, ask a
Joseph,
kid, how do you spell your name? He's not going to know.
We don't disagree that the education of English needs to be better.
But it's not just education. It's everything. Keeping you
everything.
away. You know, like they're not allowed to look on women. Yeah. How I'm talking to you right now, I'm making eye contact, yes? The proper way how you speak to a person. By the way, even just social skills, even talking to a man, yes? But they're not allowed, when they talk to a woman, they have to look away like this. And the first time I started talking to women, it felt very awkward. My eyes were like,
going
you know
away.
what I mean? And like I didn't know what to say. And forget about dating. I'm just talking about like when you interact with a cashier.
Joseph, so what's the problem to leave if you feel, and I agree with you a lot, by the way, certain things that the education is not good, and you feel that the way that they teaching you not to look in a girl in her eyes.
It's one of a million things.
One second. So I agree with you that it's not my way of living too. But what's the problem? Just to move on. Just don't listen to what they told you because you feel it doesn't work for you, and continue moving. What is those videos? What is this? I feel like your goal in life is to shit talk Satmar and all Hasidic people in the world instead of focusing and building your own new future, having a business. I don't know what you do. I wanted to get to this. Like, what do you do for a living? What do you work? So I feel that you're focusing a lot. And tell me if I make a mistake or I might be right. Don't you feel sometimes that your focus in your life is on the wrong spot? Because you see, you're not moving. In terms of you telling me financial, you still have a lot of issues.
I moved a little bit. It's at the moment right now. Today I went a little bit backwards, but generally speaking, I'm obviously way ahead. I mean, it's also, by the way, even with my English, I tell my teacher this all the time. I improved a lot. I think way more than I think, specifically with writing. Until now, I used speech to text. By the way, always people don't bother to do 5 seconds of research. They're like, oh, so you say English is not good. How did you write all the titles for your video? Because I have a lot of YouTube videos. there's a technology called speech attacks, any
ChatGPT,
stupid,
whatever.
Yeah, back in the day it wasn't Chat. Even ChatGPT is stupid. I'm just using speech attacks. I talk. I can even say how the Hasidic community is a cult. Period. You know what I mean? Or like how the comma is. It puts even the punctuation, and you can see old videos. It's not, because not always here's what you said. You have to retype.
But what do you answer my question? Don't you think you focus a little bit on the wrong spot?
Could be. I think about that sometimes. That's why you can see sometimes there's a big gap in my posting. I don't post anything because I feel like I'm getting distracted. But how much of a distraction? Then I see other people like you pop out of nowhere, and I'm like, it looks like you're making money, maybe not, maybe. And I'm like, shit, I have already more subscribers when you started and everything, and I never even made any professional videos. And my goal is not always to make videos about the Hasidic community. Maybe one day I want to make some other video. I mean, you can see, like recently I tried to make, for example, like real estate, because you ask what I do for a living. I was a real estate agent. I still am, in Manhattan, and by the way, if anybody has anything, reach out, you know what I mean? I mean, we're just sitting here. I wish we had the Nachis view today and the
background.
Yeah.
The balcony. Okay.
The balcony, it's amazing.
Take a picture
the
after.
Manhattan, I took already photos. So what's it called? You have a penthouse going on over here.
Listen, that's where we'd like to do the podcast.
Yeah.
In the summer, we'll probably do the podcast outside.
Yeah.
But go ahead, let's continue.
So what I was saying is, I posted a few videos, a lot of videos of real estate, and I only got like 100 views, where I like explain what a deed is with my broken English, and what a title restriction is, and all that, like real estate terms, or like just to advertise, make videos of apartment. 50 views. And when I make a video saying me eating pork in Yom Kippur, and I explain that Jews are not allowed to eat on Yom Kippur, they're not allowed to eat pork, and they're not allowed to eat milk and meat together, they have to wait 6 hours. There are so many rules, and I make a video, it gets a lot of views from all sides. It's educational for people who know nothing about Jews or Hasidic Jews, or for Hasidic Jews to watch it, and like, it's like,
by the way,
it's like I'm doing the biggest crime in the world.
So I think that you might look at me a little bit like a little bit aggressive towards you. I don't have a problem that you do whatever you want, FYI. I have zero issue. But my issue is like I said earlier, I don't understand, why don't you just do whatever you want like I do. I live my life, and I'm telling you, I'm living to the fullest, and I'm having a good time in my life. And I feel that if I would be focusing on negativity and looking on the past, what is not okay. So you grew up in a way you don't like. You're moving on. You continue. You can do blogging, but you can do vlogs about I grew up Hasidic and now I'm not Hasidic. But you don't need to be, in my opinion, again, to be hating on something that works for tens of thousands of people. And I think it's just going to make you grow and any way you want, when your focus is going to be just on building yourself and less knocking down the Hasidic cult that you're saying it is. And I feel that, to be honest, before you came to the podcast, my head was like, one thing I think, if you would have somehow get to Israel by the 17th, you would become an unreligious person. You would live in Tel Aviv, have a good life, sit by the beach. Everybody's not religious. They're chilling, clubs, partying. I think that you wouldn't even be upset. I think you stayed somehow in New York, stuck in the same area, and you still can choose. I
should have. You might be right, by the way. But you know what? By the age and time I was, in the ideas I had in my head, it was too late, in my opinion, back then. To now, because my family specifically, not that I come from an abusive family, just the ideas, that the values they had, and the community. My family, by the way, had less values than, meaning as far as how much to restrict the kids, than the other families where I am, because Williamsburg and Kiryas are a big difference, and definitely Borough Park, you know what I mean?
Right.
They're all different, and specifically in those different neighborhoods, you can find way different families, versus a not so religious Monroe family will just be that they eat pizza on Sunday, and a not so religious Borough Park family would be that they maybe eat pork. I don't know what. So
let's talk a little bit about your family. We didn't get there yet, and I want to start. How is your relationship with your parents and siblings?
So after I left the Hasidic community, I had to escape.
Guys, we're one step ahead. It's the first time you said Hasidic community. I'm proud of you.
No, I'm gonna stop using the word cult just because.
I'm proud of you already.
I recently but I said it already a few times already in this podcast.
Okay.
I just stopped saying because back in before this I used to say just community. That's why I refer to it as community. That's just its name is with capital H, capital C, Hasidic community. That's how people refer to it. Right. But I like to call it the Hasidic cult, just like you wouldn't call a left tour the cult. You would call it left tour. You don't say left tour cults with the, you know what I mean, in one statement.
Go ahead.
Let's
continue.
Out of respect,
back to your family.
Yeah. So my family, I had to escape, as I say, because just to give you an example, like a year or two before I left, I came home with a flip phone.
What age?
That had, I must have been like 16 or something. I came home with a flip phone that had maybe didn't have a filter, as they call it, which a filter is just a fancy way to say how North Korea put software on your devices so you can't get outside information. Okay, so that's what I didn't have. And my father got so, first of all, the community would have kicked me out, but my father and mother were like so crazy that like it went to a point where there was blood running while they're trying to chase me and take it away from me.
The phone?
And this is like at 16, 17 years old, yes. It's just a flip phone where you can make phone calls and maybe have a browser. That's about it. And that was like the biggest crime of humanity. I didn't change my clothes, which would have been way worse. They would have like probably kicked me out immediately. This just shows you what like kind of, and it's not my family. This is one of the issues, by the way, that people always
I heard that you were talking against your, I don't know if it's true, against your parents and...
No, I mean, I have no problem to say what my parents... One of the things is people, specifically Hasidic people, they are so...
overprotective?
No. I don't have the right words for this, but they're so... In Yiddish would say rishisdik, so...
Rishisdik,
how do you say it in English?
They're going to translate it. Go ahead.
Okay, they're so like mean people, but like so rude that their own people, which my father and mother are still in that community, they bash them. They say everything, oh, it was your family. No, it had nothing to do with my family. My family didn't do anything. I actually had one of the better families in the community. Okay, it had nothing to do with my family. My family was pretty good. My father and mother had her issues and their issues, and together was a problem. And who put them together? They were like opposite, you know. I don't think it was a good marriage. Who put them together? The rabbis. The rabbis told them to get married, and when they tried to get divorced, the rabbis told them you can't. You know, you should stay together. So they kept putting them to. So it's once again the Hasidic community. But when I leave and I start saying all the bad things the Hasidic community does, and how I suffer from it, then they say, oh, it's your parents, or oh, you're a victim. I understand you went to abuse. I don't know. People make up stories about me. You know, they try to say, oh, it's like dismissive. Basically, you say something like, oh, you were abused. Oh, you had a bad family. Oh, you had a bad father. They say things that, first of all, many things is not true.
Did you have any things that people are saying?
Nothing like how they, you know what I mean? And not everything I have to like bring up on the table right now, because some things are personal, you know?
Right.
But where I'm talking, the way how I have the passion has nothing to do with family or other things where people try to dismiss it. I didn't leave with that in mind. I left in mind, it might sound stupid. One of my first videos, there was a big Jewish singer that I think his name was Yoli Weiss. He reacted to it where I said, I just want to have a normal life. I want to have a wife and children, not Jewish, a nice house, make a lot of money, and that's it. And he like made a reaction video. He was like, that's it? That's why you have to become non-Jewish? You have that the same thing in the Hasidic community. He's kind of right. But you still have to live the Hasidic life. You have to send your kids to the certain school. You have to still practice all the rules. When you get married, it gets a little easier in a way because you kind of have more freedom because you don't have, you know what I mean, family and teachers and principals to tell you what to do.
Do you feel sometimes that you miss something about the community?
Almost nothing. No, I wouldn't say I miss
One
anything.
thing that you miss about the community?
I like to say food. Just as an answer, I can think. Right, but honestly, by the way, most of their food tastes like shit. Like, you really need to be able to cook it good to be good.
Filter
like,
fish?
It could be really bad, taste like shit. It's funny how sometimes people are like, hey, yeah, I filter fish. I know you like it. I'm like, I know this specific brand, whatever. It's disgusting. Like, but there's certain ways it could be good.
Let's leave it on
I'm just
food.
gonna say that. Yeah, I mean, you can think of something else.
Over these last few years that you're trying to fight the community, whatever you're doing, do you try to go to therapy, professional therapy, to get help and maybe understand yourself? Or everything you're doing is from your own?
I would like to be open-minded, you know? So therefore, I have tried to reach out before for help to get therapists. There's an organization called Footsteps that is supposed to help people that left the Hasidic community, which, by the way, I have like this secret conspiracy. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying that. They might even shun me from that organization as well. But basically, when I reach out to them saying, hey, can I get a therapist? They're like, yeah, actually, we don't have any available. And that's like the number one organization. It's like a cult survivor organization. It's supposed to help the survivors. And they don't have therapists available.
You tried multiple times?
I tried, yes.
So you want to tell me in the last few years you didn't have any?
And maybe one time I went to a therapist, like as I was enrolling in school or something. I didn't even know it was a therapist. They're like, oh, you have to speak to this African-American woman for like an hour on a Zoom call. And she was like very like attitude-y and like typing and like asking me a bunch of questions. And then at the end of it, she'd ask her, have you ever felt like you have supernatural powers? Have you ever thought about killing yourself?
That doesn't sound to me like
you know what I mean? But that's how it kind of sounded to me. I felt like mandatory. I didn't even know. I don't think they even told me like this is a therapist. I think it was even like an evaluation or something.
So the answer is no.
Wait, by the end of it,
Joseph,
she said,
one word.
Wait, by the end of it, she said, I diagnose you with mild depression. I was like, okay, you don't know me. She didn't even ask any real questions. Like she didn't talk how we talk now. She had like a questionnaire. Almost
this is
like
more a therapeutic conversation
how you
than
started
you had with her.
reading questions out of a laptop. The same thing, like a list of questions, like ChatGPT. Now I diagnose you. So first, okay, so you diagnosed me with mild depression. What does that mean? That I'm depressed today? Like, how can I fix that? Whatever. Yeah, I mean, maybe one day I'll go to therapy. The thing is, I have much more important issues like survival right now than thinking about spending $50,000 on therapy. I mean, if anybody wants to sponsor a therapist, I'll go to a non-Jewish therapist just to practice my English a little bit with them.
So guess what? I want to tell you something. I feel that this podcast has great people watching. And if you want it and you're saying that you want it, I'm sure you're going to have people who are going to be like... But
it's going to be the issue with these therapies. And so you asked, in the community, I went to plenty of therapists that were not therapists at all. Maybe they weren't licensed. They were like classified as a therapist in that community. They're just people who are, when they see you want to leave, they see you don't want to adhere to the dictator's rules, they make you believe that you're crazy. They gaslight you and they send you to a therapist to like try to remanipulate you.
Okay, but now you're already out of the community and all you want is a...
Even those, the people who watch your show, probably majority are on one level or another
matter,
Jewish.
But this is going to
be
able to...
their agendas.
So this is going to be exactly proof to you that I'm right in this specific point, that if you're seeking for help for therapy and you're asking for it, you're going to have a lot of people reaching out to you. If you need therapists,
if it's a good option and I have time, I will take it.
It's your stage and it's your decision if you want to say it, if you need it, if you feel it.
I just said it.
Yes?
Yes.
You're seeking for therapy. Very good. No, I don't see it in a bad way. I think everybody I also need a therapist. It's fine.
In the Hasidic community, it's a stigma. You can't talk about it.
Buddy.
No, that's what I'm saying. I have no problem saying it, but all the people, I get a lot of hate comments. They're all going to say, oh, look, he's crazy. He needs to go to therapy.
Guys, he's a good Hasidic kid. Whoever wants to help him, I'm just fucking with you. Don't worry about it. All right, let's continue. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, you spoke earlier about the homeless shelters. What was the story in Texas? I heard something that you ran away.
Yeah.
What happened?
So, I mean, after I left the Hasidic community, I went to like a local shelter not too far. I mean, like, not in the community. Like, the cult is surrounded with a fence. So I went like out of the fence, like a few miles.
That's a different question. What fence are you talking about? This is the IDEV?
There's a fence, yeah.
You're talking about the IDEV, and this is fear.
So
this is fear. What you're just saying, that the community is surrounded with a gate.
Is. You know why? Because
it's not a gate.
It is a gate.
Your head is
and a psychological gate is bigger than
Joseph,
a real gate.
I have no problem with everything.
Okay, full disclaimer: it's not a gate to prevent people from jumping out of, but it's surrounded with forest.
It's not a gate.
The way
it's a piece
developed, like the buildings, is that you're not
problem.
near any outside.
That's what bothers me with you.
I've
when
never
you're posting stuff like
even
that,
a Walmart,
and you're saying that they have a gate like a real cult, And people think, wow, Curious Joel has a gate, or I don't know what. They don't
Most
have no
real cults
gate.
don't have a
They
gate,
have an
by the way.
Eirev. Explain what an Eirev means. An Eirev means that for religious people who want to carry Shabbos something in their
Which
pocket.
is another rule. They can't carry
fine.
anything on Saturdays.
You can do whatever you want. We're talking about them. If they want to
it's
carry
not
it
like,
through,
oh, it's a light thing. Yeah, by the way, you
Joseph,
can't. I have like
Joseph,
a
I'm just
wallet, I
explaining
have a phone,
a
I have a
second.
charger on my phone. No, Saturday
second.
you can't carry anything.
Fine.
This is an abusive cult. They control every second of your life.
Let me explain, people, because you said it online and we have to fix this. And I think
Okay.
you should fix it.
it.
You should fix it. You
I
said
just
something
said.
very bad, which makes
Bad.
look it makes look people very, very bad. When you're saying there's a gate around the whole community, you can't leave, you can't go. This is fake. You said something. You lied.
There
you said
is a religious gate. I don't know how else to describe it.
It's not a
Where
gate.
where there's a roadway, it's a string.
It's a
rope
string.
going on top, and then it
Okay,
continues to go.
explain then what it is for.
Actually,
you want me to explain?
gate is a
I'll do
Yiddish
it.
word. It's
you want
called
me
a
to-
fence in English.
Fine.
Yes?
You want me to explain what it is?
Sure.
Okay, guys, the gate that he was posting and talking about that is around Curious Joel, you guys got scared that it's like a jail or something like that. It's a simple Jewish thing. It's called Erev. On Saturday, you're not allowed to carry, if you're religious, you're not allowed to carry in your pockets anything. So they put it around. I also don't understand why and how, but this is what it is. They put up like poles, and they take string from one to the other and around the whole area. So this is why it makes it like one what's it called that you're allowed to,
yeah.
whatever you call it, cult, whatever the case is. We're not going to go into it. This is what it is. So I think that sometimes you're oversaying sentences that makes look very bad, and it's not fair. I think even though I'm not keeping all this stuff, but I wouldn't say that they have a gate. It's a item. You have to watch what
why
you're saying,
I
because it's not
because
fair.
really there's things that are way worse. Specifically, even with that things that I'm referring to a gate. There's a psychological gate. If somebody walked outside,
So go to a therapist.
If I would have went,
it's not a gate.
15
It's
years
an
old,
item. You have to go to a therapist, my friend. This is not fair.
If I would have went at 15 years old out, I would have went to the Walmart that is 2 miles away. There's no Walmart or any place where you can go outside. Like a attraction or whatever. Outside, it's all a little far away. It's kind of an isolated place that happens to be surrounded by a fence. Okay, so the same thing is with if I would have went out, I would have beaten, blood would have poured from me just because I maybe went to Walmart to buy a pack of strawberries, which, by the way, you're not allowed to eat strawberries either. Everything is controlled. You're not allowed to walk out.
So why?
You're not allowed to have a bike in there. You know why you're not allowed to have a bike? You're only allowed to have, while you're a kid, until a certain age, you're only allowed to have a bike that is very inefficient, like they call it a three-wheeler. You can't really go far. You can only stay on your block and make a little. The reason is so they keep you, like, even if you decide that you're gonna violate the rules and ride out, it's gonna be impossible because it's not a car, it's not a bike.
I'm happy that now you're able to drive a bike and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm serious now, and it's not for you. That's very understandable. Nobody, I think nobody has an issue that you left and you feel it's not for you. We're gonna continue because I can go on the same subject every second. Exactly.
Yeah.
I just want to go continuing. Yeah. So another topic that I saw that you spoke on your YouTube channel, you spoke about giving education how to jerk off. No, for real. What is the situation? Why would you tell people how to jerk off? What is it? Yeah, you're a porn star. Like, what are you up to?
My goal is uptishmaden Klal Yisrael.
Why?
It means to make all the Jews,
Religious,
specifically
not Jews.
Hasidic, religious
Religious?
Jew from Monroe, New York, to make them no longer so crazy religious, so extreme. Just like how when you take a
Why is this your goal? You don't have something.
Wait a minute. When you take a kid from leftover and you show him the outside world, like there's a guy, Mendy Levy. As soon as he saw it, he left. Not only left over, he left all religion altogether because he saw that it's all fake. That he doesn't want to live that life, right? So the same thing. So if I show for people, hey, look, I can eat bacon on a certain day of the year.
But what are you going to show people, Joseph?
It doesn't sound
You're 22
as exciting.
years old. One second.
Because
You're
the
22
real issue...
Your life is now better than 4 years ago? I don't think so.
4 years ago, yeah.
Based on your stories, your life is not so good. What are you going to try to show if people say, your life now is better? I'm asking you a question. Is your life now better than 5, 10 years ago? What do you feel life is better? Where?
It feels like it could get...
So it's not time now to schmut anybody until you show success. Maybe first get on the right route. I'm telling it to you in your face. Maybe before you start thinking about schmutting people, and I think by the time you're going to be successful, you're going to look at yourself and be like, oh, I was young and stupid.
But it's such a joke when I say that.
I know. But
people overthink my videos. I don't think.
You have to be careful because you're saying it. You just said it, I want to schmud.
I just want to say, you contact me today. You're like, hey, Joseph, you want to come on a podcast? 2 hours later, I was all the episode. I'm here. Like, I didn't prepare for this. I should have like made a few points. Like, I knew you were gonna ask me why it's a cult. I mean, not because you told me. I kind of know you, so I assumed that's what you were gonna ask. So I could have like made some PowerPoints or like, because there's other people they're very good at speaking.
But you can't say a comment. I want to schmut down
so
I'm putting you on the spot. You tell me I didn't
mean
mean it. If you don't want to schmut down Christ, so chill down and say
No, I mean it, but I'm not like, this is my goal. I wake up and I'm like super serious.
But
like,
it looks like that's your goal.
It's a little bit of a joke statement, but it's a little bit serious. Like, if I could press a button, I would do it. But it's like,
why?
It's not like I have an organization. I'm going to spend my life. It bothers me. I would have want somebody to save me from that cult. Nobody did. So I might as well save everybody.
So maybe
I can try.
Maybe put up status that whoever's looking to seek help out of the... No,
I did. I charged $100 an hour.
Okay, you should come back to money.
No, that was a joke, by the way, because so many people reach out to me. Joseph, please. I don't know how many of them are just trolls. They're like, can you please help me? I want to escape the cult. And I'm like, many times they're trolls, or many times they're so scared to like really talk, or for me to just find out if they're real, that I'm just wasting my time. Like, what do you want me to tell you? You want me to convince? I know I used to have the same thing. I would have died to talk to you or somebody before I left. I had so many questions. You
want to hear something? If you would have talked to me, I would have got you 1 second.
I didn't have your phone number. I wasn't allowed.
But I promise you, this conversation would go different because you wouldn't be hating. I feel the only problem I have with you, I think you're generally a good guy. You sound like we spoke a little bit before. You're a very nice person. I don't think you're a bad person. No, for real. I don't think you're a bad person. I think you just have it all wrong, and you're coming with a lot of past trauma, whatever it is, and a lot of hate, and you could have focused more like me. I'm not saying that I'm the example. There's people much more successful than me, much better than me, and much smarter than me as well. But I think if you would seek out to me, for example, and people are also reaching out to me, I wouldn't be telling you that they are cult leaders. I would tell you, do whatever if you feel that's right to do. Don't worry. The opposite. Keep them on your side. Why not? What does it bother you? They're not gonna bite you.
But you don't understand.
1 second.
In my situation,
I feel that
it would have been just as hard as leaving completely than
Joseph.
trying to, because it wasn't gonna work. I couldn't just start wearing the clothes I want and start doing what I want overnight. I had to make a huge shift. You know, I'm gonna tell you an example that I didn't want to say that, but I recently visited my parents for the first time, and they kind of accepted me, you know, after I left. But I was so surprised,
How was it?
I don't want to go into a lot of details, but they didn't really accept me. My mother is very religious, and like she's abusive with the religion, my mother. But the point is that would have not happened if they saw that I left out of nowhere. I didn't say goodbye, nothing. I disappeared. They called the police. They thought I got kidnapped, right? When I was still like a minor, I was still pretty young. And like they went to this emotional state where they're like, first they thought I was lost, then they found out that I'm alive, and then they thought that that I'm still Jewish, but somewhere in Israel or something. And then they found out, no, I'm not Jewish. And then after all that, I started doing all the YouTube, and then it got worse and worse with like the gay and the all that.
I want to talk to you about it. Can we start this? Because you don't want to talk about your family much.
So it took them the 5 years just to realize that I'm never going to change myself, so they can either accept me or not.
And they're accepting you.
And not really, but you know what I mean? Way more than, like I said, before, if I would have walked in with sneakers and not the shoes, it would have been moisimas, which means I would have been killed, literally.
Nobody would kill you. Relax, bro.
I would have been
beaten
upset up.
Could be. Which is not right.
By the principal in school.
Could be.
With a metal chain. For
stupidity.
For little
I
things.
agree that
if I had an MP3 player, you know what that is? A tiny device with no internet, nothing, where you can listen to some Jewish music, it would have been the end of the world to them. Not my family, just the community. That and if it doesn't matter who. Usually it's a male figure that takes care of the misbehavior. But like, for example, in my family, my father was always the big, muscular guy, and I was the little kid. and so it was like physically stronger than me, so it can force me to do stuff. And my mother was the very religious, like the very from and I think maybe fanatic. I don't know the right words. Like very very extreme with religion. And my father even wouldn't necessarily want to do all of this stuff, but she would force her view on them, and then use my father as the, as an enforcer, as the police. It's like when a dictator is like, oh, what am I going to do? The police said, it has nothing to do with me. The police did it. It's the same thing what the Hasidic community is doing. They're like, this has nothing to do with it's your family. No, my family and my unique experiences, like everybody has their own experiences in life, was not unique. It was the community was designed like that. Just like how if a kid is born here in Manhattan in a specific neighborhood, he's going to have a general experience like the rest of that. Like somebody was born in Harlem and somebody was born in Upper West Side, you know what I mean? It's like, it's different, and it is kind of predictable, and it's not like, oh, no, just happened to happen to you. I believe that my story is not unique, and if anything, some people have way more unique stories, meaning what they went through and the pain that they had and that they continue to have. The only thing is that I spoke up, and I just happened to go viral, and I have a lot of followers now, so I have a bigger platform. And I don't do this as a full-time thing, and definitely not now that I'm not really making any money off of it. So I'm just doing it as advocacy and as a hobby or whatever, you know what I mean? Honestly, I don't think a lot about it. I mean, just whatever happens. I can always change the channel to start making DIY videos.
Streaming.
A lot of times I think I want to, by the way, like make a video. Let's say I always struggle so much because we didn't have any technology, so I need to figure out something. How do you delete the photos? Like the first time I had a phone, my storage got full, right? And then I delete the photos. I figure out how to do that, but the storage is still full. So basically, you got to delete the stuff in your trash file after that. Right. Simple things like that, where like it took me so long. I finally found the right YouTube video. I'm like, bam! And I remember it now. I might even forget it like in 5 years from now when it's going to be relevant again, the same issue or like similar things. Now, I would have loved to make videos like that, had a good camera and made a quick video. It takes a minute, and it doesn't have to be professional. You just say, hey, guys, by the way, and you put a good thumbnail and like a title, how to delete your iPhone 13, whatever, if you can.
Would be nice.
But the thing is, I can't just start uploading thousands of videos like that on a YouTube channel that talks about my life. I might have to start a different channel.
Slowly.
But maybe I want to do that. But really, I don't. Right now, the thing is, social media is so fake. I see a lot of people that act like they make a lot of money. I don't know how true it is. If they
full of it.
Are they making money? No, I see all these people.
It's like probably 90% are not.
Are not?
Yeah, 90%.
No, but I'm talking the ones that they start off like a struggle, like me. The videos are not edited. I'm openly saying that I'm broke and everything.
No, so you have
but
people
all of
make
a sudden,
money
when they
like
start having a lot of followers and sponsors and Sachen and things, they start, they all of a sudden they start talking or acting like they're rich. I don't know how true it is.
This is not your focus, and our focus is to make our own money, not to look at them.
Right. But which is another thing. After I left, my whole reality before I left, the homeless guy at the subway wearing a hoodie and sweatpants looked the same to me than the millionaire on Wall Street with the suit and tie. They both looked like a goy, which was to us a bad thing.
But you didn't see one successful, one is not successful.
Even a Jew from Israel and a Jew that doesn't have the long curls to the floor, but he has a yarmulke and he has a suit and tie, was also the same animal. And by us, there's a word foy. He's the same. That's what they consider. They say, what does Nachri mean or whatever? Like they compare the non-Hasidic Jews from their specific cult. They consider them equal to an animal. That's what
I don't know which teachers you had.
Meaning, when I now speak to people, sometimes I even have to train myself not to be so arrogant while talking to them, because I feel very bad. I have to reprogram my mind that I'm not superior than everybody. That's how they always talk. They talk like they're the superior one, like they're better than everybody and smarter than everybody. And in life, in real life, it doesn't go far like this way, you know. So everything in life, I have to change. I have to readjust. I have to learn. So people ask, why don't you just move on? I can't just move on. It doesn't just move on overnight. I'm building a life. The only thing is sometimes I'm thinking that this is a distraction, or like
Big one.
Is it like what?
Because
it takes me like a few hours to make a video.
Hours
It's hours. That's
of
it.
Nothing doing. Meaning to say,
No, but a
it's
lot
not
of
that you
times
have
also.
now-
By the way, most of the times when my life is like this, it's not like I have something to do. It's more a lot of times sitting duck. Like right now, I'm unemployed. Just lost my job, and so it's like I'm looking for a job. I could go probably pretty easy find a job at McDonald's, but there's no
if a
point.
Hasidic guy is offering you now a job, a good job, $1,800 a week,
I'll take it.
yeah,
It depends what it is. If it has nothing to do with Judaism, I don't have to change who I am. For
yeah,
the
you can
job,
stay like that.
and I don't have to work around. Because one of the things is people always
can't
say,
pick
"Oh,
and
you
choose
speak Yiddish.
everything."
Why don't
No.
you speak
But I'm
Yiddish?"
asking you, there's a job now from Monroe, I don't know what, by I can't give you an example.
Yeah.
100 kind of
Reach
work.
out to me. I'll take it.
Yeah?
It depends on the details about it, but I'm way more open now. Before I would only.
You would rather go to
Even when I
McDonald's,
couldn't.
right?
No, well, for 1,800 versus 500 versus $300 a week, I would take the 18. But it depends what I need to do for the 1,800. You understand what I'm
You
saying?
need to work hard.
No, not just the work. First of all, am I qualified? You know what I mean? Meaning, can I, because I can't write
Truck
English,
driving or whatever.
English, I can probably do it. But again, 5 years ago, I couldn't read a basic sign. I couldn't read a sign which says I-90 East. You know, I couldn't read it. How I'm going to have an accident.
Waze.
So, Waze. I'm saying East.
Waze.
Waze. Yeah,
You
but
use Waze, you don't know how to
Waze
read nothing.
speaks
You don't
and
need
it,
to.
and it reads. You can follow the line.
Technology is
and
good
that.
today.
Yeah.
Joseph,
Not as good as people would like.
Joseph, there's a lot of solutions. If you're looking for it, you're going to find them. Let's move on in your dating life and on your, a little bit on your personal life. And I feel that you're pretty open to talk about it. So what is the situation? Are you, first of all, dating girls, guys, both? What's the deal?
I am gay.
You're gay?
I'm kidding. I'm straight.
You're straight?
I'm bisexual.
You said three things.
Which one do you think it is?
I don't know. I don't know you well, so I would like you don't need to discuss
Take
it.
a
It's
take
really
a pick. Take a guess. No, we can discuss it a little bit if you want.
good question. I don't know.
Say shoot something. One.
For me, it's all like I don't mind anything you are.
I guess you don't
Straight?
mind. Straight. So here's the thing with me and you asked me.
Are
If
you
I'm
okay,
gay.
comfortable talking about it?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So, not always. Right now, I am.
Good. I'm happy that you're opening up.
Yeah. See, you're making.
I have something
You're making
special.
a safe space.
You know, people
There's
saying
other
that they're coming
interviews
to the
where I said I don't
podcast.
want to talk about it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people, you know, when I'm doing the podcast, they're telling me, Nachi, after we finish, I felt so comfortable talking to you, open up, even though sometimes you have tough questions or whatever the case is, but I feel that I can talk to you. I feel like we're having a real talk, and I'm very happy that you feel the same way.
Maybe you should be a therapist.
One day.
So the question is, so the answer is, when I left, I didn't even know what the word gay is. I had no idea.
You
Even
attracted the
months
guys or
later,
the girls?
I probably actually found out more about it through the Hasidic people, because they kept, when I was in Texas, you know, after I left, I went super viral, specifically within the Hasidic community. I made like live Instagram
Posts.
views, and I had like 1,000 people watching how I'm live and just
Wow.
eating cereal and talking, you know.
Really?
So something like that, yeah, and like arguing with other Hasidic people, you know. So it was a lot of followers. That's when I like really went viral. That's when I built all my followers. So basically, back then, people kept asking me, "Oh, so you're gay? You're just gay? You just did it because?" And they have a word chazir. It means a pig. They call somebody who does homosexual acts. They call it a chazir, a pig. So and a little bit, I was like ashamed. Like it's like in the community, you can get killed. Like based on the scripture, it says if somebody does that, kill him. Somebody is gay, kill him. Not even gay. It says if somebody does. And by the way, the Hasidic community is so controlling. They control you so much that they always say everybody we're gonna skip 4 pages of the Bible, because they don't even want you to know that you're not allowed to be gay. That way you don't even know that the word exists. You don't know anything about it. You just you think you have weird feelings and stuff. And if you get caught doing something with other classmates and whatever, because I was in school and I was a young guy, you get in trouble. I mean, not trouble. You get deadly. And that's when one of the reasons that's when a story happened to me that I don't want to go in today. I have probably a video on my YouTube channel about that. But the point is,
we asked you a simple question. You got all the way. You walked up to, I don't know.
Yeah, no. So because I'm assuming you want to have a better answer, not
the reason why. So I'll be honest with you. It's very personal. I just wanted to ask you about your dating life. But it's a simple question. Bi, straight, what is it?
Yeah, well, I don't like to answer it simple because it's not a simple answer, you know. So I'll make it quick. So yeah, basically, long story short, after I left, I was like, by the way, some Hasidic guy hacked my Instagram account and deleted all my followers. Why? Because he saw me as a threat to the community, so he wanted me to lose all. So in an effort to gain back my followers, I'm saying this probably not the first time, maybe one of the reasons is I decided to make a video saying I'm gay. So that way I'm interesting again, you know. So I said I'm gay. Issue is that I was a young guy. I was like, now I'm not as young as then. I was like still like almost a minor, you know. So like a lot of like pedophiles and like older guys reached out, started sending nude photos, and like specifically under like Hasidic guys that are like,
and you're not gay at all.
Their profile. Well, so because I started saying I'm gay, I started all of a sudden, so many people, even people that I might find attractive, other guys, reached out, and they're like, so I started learning more about it. Before I wasn't even interested. I didn't even know I didn't even know how to pronounce the word.
You were technically straight then, and then because
I was never straight. I was always doing. First of all, I believe everybody in the world, or almost everybody, is bi on one level or another. We all, I believe it's just like how nature, how everybody's attracted to a female. We're all attracted to males on one level. Maybe not all, to males. Not every male. You never did anything in
doesn't
school.
Matter what you did in school, but
you did something, right? So the same thing with me.
Anything you did in school is because you have no access to girls.
Whatever. But would you do it with a pig that is behind his?
No, again, whatever. Okay, I hear what you're saying.
So that's what I'm saying. So the same thing with me. It was maybe on a bigger level that I was, but nothing. Like I said, like other kids in school did way more.
And what did it turn out?
And I remember I did it with almost all the kids. And I use the word kids. It sounds like weird, but you have to remember I was a kid in school, and it was kids. Yeah.
Kids and kids.
Yeah, because I left when I was like still a minor. You know, after I left. So I started hearing the word gay. I decided to just say gay, just to own it up. If anybody ever confronts me, go, oh, so you're gay, that's why you're alive, you're just a pig. That's the word they use. I was like, yeah, actually I am. And also, because I started to learn there's so many people who are really, like, according to them, I believe they're also over-exaggerating how the girl from left door, they're like, have a whole victim story, how they were, like, secret in the closet and the whole thing. But at least that's what their narrative is, you know. So I'm like, okay, I'll give them support because I couldn't care less, you know. I'll like be an ally to them by. There's no bigger way to be an ally by self-describing myself, you know. It's like when people hate Jews. If some big celebrity comes out and says he's Jewish or he's becoming Jewish, now he like legitimized it, you know what I mean? Like so the same thing is what I did. I just said it, and because of that, I actually like. In my life, like sexually and relationship-wise, I started to become more gay, but I always still now wanted to have a wife, a beautiful like girlfriend to become a wife, and you know have kids, have a normal life, nothing special, nothing crazy.
So you're saying you have both attractions, but you're more on girls.
Way more girls. Like it's guys is I always use the saying. It's called "Bizen kretschme darf man auch aglesen." It means that it's a Yiddish saying. It means that when you're on the way to the bar, until then you also need a little bit of coke and vodka to like the pregame. You know what I mean? Like until you find the right one. Because I'm not just gonna go with anybody. I have very high standards.
Are you?
You know, that's the same reason why I left the Hasidic community. I could have settled for what it is and take the path of least resistance, the path that was already designed for me before I was born. But I didn't. I wanted to change the cycle and leave the way how the grandparents had this life and they transfer the same bad life to their kids, and then the same. It keeps going on. Somebody's got to stop it, you know. So I decided the one who stops it suffers. For how long the suffering is going to go on, I don't know. Maybe it's going to go on forever, but I believe I made the right decision, at least for my kids.
So all the questions that we had, a lot of people asking about Christian and that kind of stuff is just bullshit, isn't it? We were never tried.
If I'm Christian?
No, that you tried saying that you like the church and you like the
Yeah,
this
I do
much
it sometimes for fun. I will do it right
It's
now.
not-
If you want, we can go and film.
No, but
just
but
it's called
it's
called
just-
lahachos. It means
Okay,
just
so
to
it's
show
not
them that I
really
can-
you're trying to be Christian or you're trying to convert to be Christian or you believe in Jesus or not. You believe in Jesus just like you believe in I don't know what. You don't believe
I don't
in
believe in
anything.
Jesus. No,
You don't believe in anything.
I might say it. No, exactly.
You're just
I'm
saying it
atheist.
just to be lahachas.
Exactly.
Out of fear,
Being honest,
No, hopefully this podcast will change just a little bit of your way. I'm okay with do whatever the fuck you want,
Let's
but
see.
you just gotta chill out a little bit. You don't need to bring up Jesus and Chazarim and Kippur.
I do it to educate
Do your own
the people.
shit. Nobody judges. Everybody's
Why-
okay with
why
you. We
can't
love you,
I?
man.
Because
Because we love you. Nobody. You don't need to put it in people's
love
face.
me. So don't look at
but
it.
you don't need to.
Why is it triggering people so
Again,
much?
because
the
you're
fact that it's
reaching-
triggering
I'm
shows
posting
what
also,
it's all
one
about.
second. I'm also posting stuff,
Yeah.
but I'm not doing it. Nobody feels that I'm doing it specifically for them. Nachi lives his own life. When you post your shit, you're focusing to hit them spots over here.
really.
You're trying to hurt them.
Who
That's what
is
you're trying
them?
to do.
It's like
the community.
they're a person.
You're trying.
The only people
No.
hurt is me.
I'm saying. I understand you hurt.
They're
I
like,
get
I'm
it.
a little
I get
guy.
it.
I have zero impact, by the way. I
One
used to think
second.
that I have impact. Nobody even knows who I am.
Okay, so
I
that's
walk
my
into
point.
the
So
Hasidic
maybe
community. Nobody
stop.
knows who I am.
So what I'm saying is,
Even in
why
the
you're
outside, I
trying-
walk into the people who left. Nobody knows who I am. So I'm not like that known of a guy. Maybe I have a few thousand
Bro,
followers.
I'm not Hasidic. Don't
but-
feel that I'm backing them up. I
Yeah.
don't give a fuck for anybody. What
understand.
I'm saying is, you're just doing. We spoke about. You said earlier that you think that I'm a little bit right when it comes to that stuff. You're just a little bit lahachas too much, and there's no need for it. People care for you. You're gonna find a lot of good people, which I think that I'm not your therapist. I'm just a person that I'm getting to know you, and I feel that you have a lot of potential, and you're a good person.
Thank you so much.
We're heading to the end of this interview. Do you think that this season that you're going through now is a phase, or this is it? That you're gonna change? You
People
might
used
change.
to say when I first left that, give him 30 days and he's going to be back. Because they always find out there's going to be a amount of people, depending how viral this video goes, which I hope gets like a few million views, you know what I mean?
Never know.
But there's going to be a certain amount of number, especially if it has a lot of views, that are now going to see me for the first time. And this is their first impression. They think I just left today. They don't realize that I've had so many stuff and especially if you follow me on social media. I've been here, I've been through this, I've been there. You know what I mean? There's people who are like, and they start making decisions and like conclusions based on what they just heard and what they, you know what I mean? They're like, give him a year and he's going to be back. That's what they say now.
So is it a phase or not a phase?
You know what I mean? No, it's not, because that's what they said. Give him 30 days back then, and now it's almost a half a decade later, and I'm now more than ever saying that I'm never changing my decision, because if anything, now it would be considered like the story, the guy who ran away at Shulchan Aruch. I hope you'll be able to translate it. It's a thing where Passover, you have to have a very specific propaganda meal that everybody sits together, and like so many rules of how you have to eat and do religious ceremonies, and everything you eat, horseradish.
Look at the difference
it's like
between me and you.
It's
By
terrible.
You, Shulchan Aruch is terrible.
Wait. No, not Shulchan Aruch.
It's fun.
Everything up until Shulchan Aruch. You're gonna put the translation, yeah. Up until Shulchan Aruch is terrible. It's like it's painful. It's hours, especially for a kid. You have to sit there. You sit in jail. I know. I think some people left the Hasidic community just because they were abused. Yes, they had to sit there for so long.
Sometimes it's hard. I agree.
But
sometimes it's hard.
So there's a story. This guy that he was hungry, a not Jewish guy, and his friend told him, on Passover you can go and they will give you a free meal. So he sat for the whole ceremony, and they abused him so much with the horseradish and everything, and he waited for hours. He finally decided to run away. He's like, there's no food there, there's nothing. But he ran away right before they were about to say the cue, Shulchan Aruch, which means prepare the food and everything on the table to get ready to have a feast. Which, by the way, some families, you say you enjoy Shulchan Aruch. By us, there was no food because
I know.
they only potatoes and maybe eggs, and even that was not. So you only had some dry crackers. That was the feast, But supposedly, that is finally where you get a break of all the prayers and all the hard part of the ceremony. That's where it gets relief. So if I'm going back now to the Hasidic community, if I change my direction now, I just left. Maybe all the suffering, I'm almost out of the tunnel. I'm turning back now, make a U-turn. I got to go on 10, 15 more feet, and I'm out. And
Joseph, I want to hear, I like to ask it always, 2 things that people don't know about you. 2 things. You're posting a lot. People know you very clearly, what you think and what you know, whatever. What is things that people don't know about you that people might be shocked or saying, wow, this is Joseph? I didn't think that he's like that.
That's a question that I needed to prepare. Maybe I didn't mention it. I want to be a millionaire. I haven't mentioned that for a long time.
That's fine. Everybody wants to be.
It's like a big thing about me. I want to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a millionaire.
And what are you going to do with your money?
I wouldn't spend all my money on like, you know what I mean? I saw that in my father. I mean, he pretended to, or maybe he is a big philanthrop. How do you say that? A guy who gives a lot of charity, you know. So I would use the money to create, because the organization Footsteps, you know, you're aware of Footsteps, is supposed to help people who love, but as I said, they don't even have therapists available. Why? That's a good question. Everybody should ask themselves that. People who left, people who are in the community, you know, that, and I believe actually Footsteps is also a controversial opinion, are secretly trying to reconvert to some level or another people to be Jewish again. And I would create an organization just helps people on a very efficient way, but it's specifically tailored to people that come. I don't know exactly where you come from, but when I left, I didn't know how to spell my own name. In English, I couldn't read or write even a simple sentence, as in, I'm outside of your door, what apartment number are you? It's even a simple sentence like that I couldn't spell.
're always losing track. Go back to the money situation.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, no, I like to Trump calls it the weave, you know?
Okay.
So
it happens to be, when you asked on myself, I'm a person who do both. I live my life.
So let me say, I would use my money for just to help a lot, but on an efficient way. I don't believe it takes a lot of money. I believe you can, somewhere upstate New York or somewhere where real estate is cheap, you buy like an apartment and some staff, and you make it also self, you know, where part of a building or a house could even be, you rent it out so it's self-supporting, and, you know, where people can have a place to be with people to help them, and specific tutors that are trained and know and are good at teaching people English and education who come from the same type of background that I am. Not sit them in a room with a bunch of Spanish kids who don't know how to say good morning or good night, but they know like advanced algebra because they went to school in Mexico. So it's like, so when they learn English, they learn whatever. It's very complicated, you know.
Well, you didn't answer me on the question. The question was, is there anything you can share with the viewers that they don't know about you? I got all you said, and
So I just have like a general story that I've never said, and I'm gonna make a video about that how my mother recently escaped from my parents' house. From my father and from the whole family, because everybody started to say what they don't like about her and how religious and abusive she is, and how she escaped from our house.
So your parents...
and I plan to make a YouTube video about that story one day.
So your parents are getting divorced?
Maybe.
But she escaped the house?
They were almost divorced at one point, but the rabbis told them to go back.
So, this is breaking news, kind of.
It is. Coming soon. I'm not going to finish the whole story.
I'm going to leave you
I'm
for
sorry,
the second.
Nachi. Yeah.
It's okay.
If they want, you're going to put a link to my YouTube channel. One day I'll post a video about it.
Okay. Look, Joseph, I want to tell you that there's a lot of topics that we didn't discuss. Yeah. And I know that people want to ask questions. And you guys are welcome to comment over here on the comment section and ask Joseph. I believe Joseph is going to be active a little bit after this podcast to be responding to people on questions you have.
More offers, business, you know. But I just want to say one more time, if we're going to put the link to the GoFundMe, if people want to, you know, support.
You can also comment on this, you know, people are going to read the comments. So
no, I mean, I just want to say it, you know, if people want to even send out this clip.
They want to support.
They want to, because I'm trying to, if they want.
But Joseph, people want to support you. People don't want to support your agenda of knocking down others.
No,
they want to help you.
Sometimes also people think, oh, he's just going to use the drugs or whatever. I don't do any drugs, but they think, oh, he's just going to use the money. No,
they can pay directly.
I use it like you can give somebody a fish, or you can teach them how to fish. So what I'm doing right now is I'm investing in my English. I'm not even near to go to college. I first need to get my GED, my high school diploma, but that takes a lot of money. I know people always try to give me.
Job.
Oh, you know that I know.
Maybe a good job.
Right, but you need to basic fundamental.
You're good. Your English is good to go.
That's what you
Promise
think.
People
you
can become a billionaire. I'm telling you.
Okay.
You can be a billionaire with this English.
Okay.
I swear.
You can be anything with anything, but
Look
when
at
I'm
this.
starting to try write emails in real estate or read a basic, then when it's really in
You'll
the heat of the
hire-
moment, nobody
you'll
gives a shit,
hire a
even
secretary.
you. If I told you, Nachi, you know what? Let's do some business. As soon as it comes to real life, and you, what is it called?
I'm gonna tell you, my
stumble
secretary's
a
gonna
tiny
read.
bit. You're
What are you
out.
talking
You're out.
about?
Nobody is here to
No. You don't need
to pamper you.
So
know?
let me tell you something.
Yeah.
In my experience in business, and I do a lot of things, and I did a lot of things in my life, I don't know how to read. I read very good English, but I'm not good in reading agreements and all this kind of stuff because it's a little bit deeper, English. But that's why I have secretaries, that's why I have workers, that's why I have lawyers, that's why I have everything. You don't need to know.
Not everybody has at this point.
So
I
you're
have to do
you're
everything
gonna
myself.
learn how to sub things out, and you don't need to. You're gonna be busy focusing, making money.
I hope
Get
it's
into
gonna
the drive.
come
Get into the
soon.
drive to make money and focus on good things. Joseph, I had a personally good time with you.
Thank you. Me
I
too.
think that I was able to open a little bit more your head in a good way of basically starting maybe to look on the fact that you went through a hard life. Nobody disagrees, and I'm sure you had a hard life, and I hope that you will be able to heal as soon as possible. If you're gonna continue focusing on just hate and be busy posting videos about this and that, it's not gonna bring you. That's my personal, as a friend, I'm telling it to you now, that I think it's not going to bring you too much. If you're going to continue focusing on meeting the right people with money, people with business mind, other kind of people around you, you're going to surround yourself with successful people. You're really going to start growing, and you're going to see that everything else is like falling apart, and you don't give a fuck on what happened in the past. And I hope that I was able to bring you a little bit closer to what I believe is, again, it comes out of a good way. It doesn't come out of a way that I'm trying to put away, things that you feel. Whatever you feel is you, and I'm not here to, say that you feel something else. But as a person that's a little bit older and I have a little bit more years than you in my life, I feel that it's important to tell you that you have a lot. You have a lot to give to this world. You can be an influencer. You can be so many good things and big things in this world, and I hope that you're going to take it in the best way. And I appreciate you for coming down. Joseph, you were special. Now let's go for a cigarette because I'm losing my mind.
Let's do it.
All right.